Thanks for tuning
Hi,
in to
everybody.
this episode of the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. We are the Gaming Stooges.
Today's episode
you can call me Class.
And I'm Landon.
We hope you enjoyed today's
What are you
discussion, and
What
if you
am I
do,
doing?
please consider
What am I
subscribing to our
doing?
YouTube channel, following us on Twitch, or
Are you
joining
asking
our
what am I
Discord.
doing, or what is
Let's
he
get
doing?
on with the show.
What he's doing. I know what you're doing. You're
number
trying to introduce something.
The number 3.
Oh,
That's what we're
okay.
introducing.
So, if you ever wanted to hear us metaphorically jerk something off for about 90 minutes, you're in the right place. Because today we're going to talk about the Nintendo 3DS.
We about to do it live, folks.
Yeah.
This Twitch is about to fucking ban us for porn.
No. Just categorize it as a hot tub stream. We got this.
He just licked it.
I don't
know if that was actually
I
on camera,
I
but he
pretended
licked
to.
it.
He did lick it. So the 3DS is a system that is pretty near and dear to us. If you haven't seen our top video game systems of all time list over on YouTube, that was number 1 on that list. Landon and I put it in first, and Jack put it in second. So
Where did Justin rank it?
it was, I think it was kind of high up. I want to say it was like 3rd or 4th. Like it was.
I was going
It
to
was
say
not. It was not low.
And he is not a handheld gamer.
Yeah. So the point here that I want to make is that the 3DS is a big deal for us. It was the first handheld, at least for me personally, that I definitely experienced like the entirety of its lifespan and have a lot of memories with it, because the DS I kind of joined a little bit later on. I don't know about you guys, but this system originally came out in March of 2011 for the first model, and it has 6 other models. But before I get into listing those off, I wanted to ask real quick our first question of this episode, and that is how you guys got your first 3DS. Because we all have multiple, just saying, but the first time you got a 3DS is what I want to know.
Okay. So I got this one, blue, teal, whatever you want to call it, original model.
Aqua. It's Aqua.
No, it's
for
they
my-
officially called it teal.
Have they?
That is
Okay.
teal's the official color that they call it.
Okay. I got this for my birthday back in 2011, because it was just a month after the system originally came out. But it was on the condition from my mom, who said, "I'll do this, or I'll get this for you," but because she knew about the deal that GameStop had at the time, because the 3DS, we're going to get into the launch price later, was very expensive when it first came out by Nintendo handheld standards. So GameStop had a deal at the time where if you traded in your DS, depending on which model, you would get like a flat amount towards a 3DS system. If it was like if it was a DS original or light, it was 50. If it was a DSi, it was 75. And if it was a DSi XL, it was 100. And I traded in my DSi for this.
Oh wow!
That's the Aqua Blue, though.
Is it?
If that is like one of the original launch ones.
I thought they
that
called
is-
it teal.
No, it's called Aqua Blue.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well,
'Cause, like,
whatever.
This one is the Cosmos Black, which is
Mhm.
the one I got.
Well, okay then.
But yeah, that's when I got it.
Yeah. So for me, I have a little funny story. So I originally had no intention of getting the 3DS at first because it was $250, as Jack said. I was not going to spend $250 on a handheld game console. But they had announced, and we'll talk more about this in a very brief, very soon, I should say. They announced a price cut that was going to be coming in late August, and it was going to get cut to $170. And
Yeah.
Walmart decided they were just going to jump the shark and just do the price cut early. So Walmart officially did the price cut a week in advance, and that week in advance that retailers were that most retailers were not doing the price cut.
You still got the Ambassador games, didn't you?
I was about to get to that. Nintendo announced a program called the Ambassador Program, so you got to get a bunch of games. We'll talk more about it. And because Walmart did the price drop early, I got both the price cut and the games.
You really bought the 3DS at the optimal time.
And
because I
was going to say, so I just want to say real quick, and the reason why I knew about this was because we had a union member on our GameSpot forum. He was one of our officers at the time, Shy Guy Red, and I was, me and him were messaging each other on, I believe it was No, I think we were using Skype at the time. But he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, did you know Walmart's already did the price cut?" I was like, "No way." And he was like, "Yeah, way." So I asked my mom, I was like, "Mom, I have the money," because I had started working, so I had saved up enough money. I was like, "Mom, can we go get this today?" And she brought me over to Walmart. I wanted the aqua blue one, but they were sold out already. So I got a Cosmo Black one. I don't have it anymore, though, because I gave it to my nephew when I moved on to a different unit. But yeah, so I got mine right around the time of the price cut, but early.
You should go and retrieve it.
I still have the Ambassador program. I moved it over to another 3DS. I just don't have that 3DS anymore.
Oh, I don't care about that. I care about that 3DS.
Oh, okay.
Go get that 3DS. Go retrieve it.
Well, I gave it to my nephew, and it has, like, the stick, like, the cover for the stick is gone.
Okay, go get it.
No.
It's okay. We'll wait. Go ahead and go get it.
Well, while I guess I go get it, how about you tell me,
about this?
About yours.
About this little fucker?
Yeah.
I got mine for free. That's right. The great price of nothing out of my pocket, which is what I like to fucking spend. It was a gift for my 18th birthday that year.
That's right. It's a nice birthday gift for your 18th birthday.
Did I get anything with it other than that? No. Fuck no.
Oh, you didn't get anything with yours? I got both. Obviously, I got the Ambassador program because I'm a sneaky little shit. But I also got The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D to go with it because that had already released at the time. I also got another game like immediately after. It wasn't right when I got the system, but it was one of like the big games that I got right around this, like when I first got it. So I just wanted to shout out Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition. That's a good That's a good game. Jack, what did you get for with it?
I got that Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition and Rayman 3D.
Nice.
Yeah, I got nothing. And it would continue to be like that until Tetris Axis came out that summer.
Oh, I was going to ask when that came out. What was that? June, July? Yeah. I can't remember the exact. It
was like early summer, I think. Yeah.
We literally talked about a bunch of early 3DS games back in our last podcast, the 2011 year in review, because, wow, the 3DS came out in 2011. Who knew?
Look at that. We did it. Storytelling in action. Podcast form.
It was not that summer, actually. Tetris Axis released on October 2nd, 2011.
Oh, wow. Even longer.
Yeah.
So I do want to go over, because it is a big part of the 3DS's identity, all of the different versions that came out. I'm not going to give specific release dates, but I will give like the month and year that they came out. These are all in North America, specifically. So there are 6 models. There's the original one, which I did mention already because that is the initial release. The next version that came out would be the 3DS XL in August 2012. We would then get the 2DS released in October 2013, and that was basically to coincide with the release of Pokemon X and Y, the first main Pokemon games to come out for the system. It has a much different design. We'll talk more about the different models in just a little bit. We also would get the new 3DS XL in February 2015. There was a series of systems that they started coming out with called the new 3DS, which was an improved model. You had better 3D tracking, better battery life for the most part, and just better performance. The software was able to be that you used was able to be loaded faster. It was just a bit more powerful chip that they had. So just an all-around.
And it had a nipple.
It had a couple extra buttons and a little nub that doubles as like a second stick for certain games. Also had an NFC reader, so you can scan your amiibos, since Amiibo came out the previous year. That came out in 2015, but there was also a base new 3DS model, which while that was a full retail release out in Japan, we would not get a technically official full retail release. We would get them all as these special edition bundles. So, Landon, you said that the first one was the Animal Crossing one, correct?
Yeah, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. Yep. That was the first one released in North America.
Yeah, there was that one. There was the Mario edition, that one that had both white and black that came in. There's been a couple others. There was a Pokemon 20th anniversary special edition that came out right around, obviously, when they did the 3DS Virtual Console releases of Pokemon Red and Blue in February 2016. So that, again, did not get a full special retail release, but defining feature of that is that there's swappable plates for that one. The new 3DS XL does not have swappable plates. And then the last one that we would get would be the new 2DS XL. No, I did not make that up. That is a real thing. And that came out in April 2017, the month after the Switch came out. So that shows how late into the cycle they were still supporting this generation of handhelds. The 2DS XL is basically the same as the new 3DS XL, just pared down a bit, made with cheaper material, honestly, so that they could sell it at a really low price comparatively. But yeah, there was all of those models. So I want to know really quick what your favorite one is among those.
I mean, my favorite model?
Yeah, what's your favorite model? Even if, what's the one you use the most that you just kind of gravitate towards?
This one.
You got your Majora's Mask, new 3DS.
You have to say it for the people that are only listening.
The new 3DS XL. And I say, these guys will disagree with me. I like the XL better despite the blow up on the screens, because I got big hands. And playing on this thing, especially high energy games like Mario Kart and Kid Icarus, hurts your hands after a while. Which is why I like the big one, because it's more well suited for my gigantic gorilla hands. And also, I like this one because it's Majora's Mask.
Likes the big boy.
That was a bunch of weird, just blank audio for a solid minute. Cloud, your thoughts?
Wow. My favorite is the base new 3DS model with swappable plates. I currently have a cheapo version of Groudon Kyogre plates that I bought. I really like the 3DS's and we're gonna get into this more. I like the personality features. There's so many ways to customize and just make the 3DS your own. And one of those is the exterior and the model choice that you use. So having that extra level of personalization is also really good. And it's a new model, which means it is objectively better than the previous series of models, just from performance standpoint and just how long it'll last you. So, I mean, yeah, I love the new 3DS, base new 3DS. I also like most of the other models pretty well enough. I mean, I don't dislike any of them, but this one's just my favorite.
I think this one is my favorite to look at.
The new 3DS XL. Is that a new 3DS XL or just a base 3DS XL?
That's a new one.
No.
That's a new one.
It's a new 3DS XL. It's my favorite to look at.
It's got Samus Aran on it.
It will never get played. I will turn it into a shadow box one day and just stare at it at the wall.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That one released with Samus Returns?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it with Samus Returns. I got it like after the fact. But like Cloud, the this one is my favorite one to use, and that's that.
You also have a new 3DS, base new 3DS for the listeners.
No, I'm playing into the joke. Don't tell them what it is. Yes, no, I like the new 3DS the most myself. Jack just is too big. We're gonna have to cut him down.
Just chop him down at the ankles. He'll be fine.
Just at the tip.
Will that make my hands smaller?
We'll find out.
We never said we were gonna make your hands smaller. We just said we were gonna cut you down.
Okay.
So yeah, those are all of the models, and we'll say. So let's talk about some of the defining features of the system in general, and some of these may differ based on which version of the system you own. But the main draw, at least originally, was glasses-free 3D. Like, that was the big selling point of the system, that you'd be able to experience 3D visuals in your games without the need of special 3D glasses like they would usually have you wear when you go to a movie theater. This was a project that Nintendo had been working on a very long time. They tried it with the Virtual Boy. That did not work out very well, so they went back to the drawing board. Took them about 15 more years, but eventually they got it right. I remember the reveal for this back in 2010, and people were like astonished that they managed to make this possible.
That was the last Nintendo E3 presentation, 2010.
Was it?
Yeah. The last, before they moved on to Directs. Oh, wait, no, they had one in 2011 for the Wii U. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, they had the
Never mind.
2011 one.
It was the last good Nintendo E3 presentation.
Wow, you saying bad things about the Nintendo Land dance party?
Yes. It's not a good representation of what Nintendo Land is capable of.
Fair.
Also, on top of the glasses-free 3D, you still had the touchscreen that the DS had brought along that was still on the bottom screen. You had a much more robust home menu. It was a much more akin to like what you saw on the Wii at the time. They added themes so that you could like personalize this home screen so you could like make it look however you wanted. They added Landon's favorite thing in the world, folders. So you can
badges.
You can make folders and just like put as much stuff, categorize stuff as much as you want that way. So I forgot
there was the badge arcade thing where you could win badges and decorate your screen.
I forgot that you could use those for that. I collected some for a little bit, but I got bored of it after a while, I will admit.
I have a Shuckle on one of my folders.
That's pretty cool. I forgot that you could use those on the folders. Oh, now I gotta look into my badges, because I think I have some. That'd be cool. And then, of course, I did mention the NFC reader was added to the new 3DS models. All of the models also have gyroscopic motion control. It wasn't as heavily advertised as the glasses-free 3D. That's pretty sick. But I will say that the 3DS has a bunch of different features. You got the amiibo. You got it has AR, so it can use the cameras to produce to like look at like your surroundings with the gyroscope, and then produce like game effects. Like, oh boy, my favorite game for the 3DS actually, Pokemon Dream Radar used that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Face Raiders.
Face Raiders is fun. You also had
you
had AR games that also came with it, which had like AR cards. So you had Face Raiders. Landon, why don't you tell us about the brilliance of Face Raiders?
Face Raiders lets you take a photo of your friends, families, or enemies, and then they become a thing inside the game, and then you shoot them. That's Face Raiders.
That's Face Raiders. That's all it takes.
That's fucking Face Raiders. You get to fucking gyroscope all around your fucking living room. spin around in circles and shoot people. And then hopefully you run into things in the real world too. Because that's badass.
Yeah. We got a bunch of best-selling games for this system.
Nope. We got Street fucking Pass Me Plaza.
We did get...
That's what we got for this game.
We also did get... Actually, that's actually very important. So the 3DS came with a feature called StreetPass, and there was also Spot Pass, but Spot Pass was basically just the 3DS's way of sending online notifications, similar to how the Wii could do it, and also you'd get something later down the line with the Wii U. But StreetPass was different because it was local wireless, so if you had your 3DS in sleep mode, you could get interactions with other people who were doing the same thing. There's been kind of a game made out of this, like even today, like some people will bring their 3DSs with them and have it in sleep mode and see if they can get like a street pass when they pass.
Oh, I used to do that all the time.
Like it's still a thing. And speaking of which, the 3DS also made big use of being in sleep mode and being able to like just do things with the system that way. Like you could collect coins if it was in your pocket, because there was also like it could use like the sensors to tell if you were walking with it in your pocket. So with those sensors, if you walked a bunch, you would rack up coins, and you could rack up to 10 a day, and then you could use those coins on games. It was a weird way to like, because Nintendo had this thing like in the late 2000s and early 2010s where they were like, let's get people fit. Let's have them exercise. Let's motivate them to go outside and touch grass. And this was like just one of their ways to do that.
I mean, they're really just still doing that with the Switch. They're like, no, play video games outside. Just piss off.
They really want people to go outside and be human beings. They don't want what Sony and Microsoft want, which is for you to sit on your ass eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew and getting like grimy fingerprints all over your controllers that you then bring into GameStop and piss off 2010's Landon because of how disgusting they were. Did that hit a little? Did that hit a little close to home?
I definitely was listening, so yes.
All right, cool.
You definitely were.
So yeah, and then best-selling games, just to list them off, we got Mario Kart 7, that is the best-selling game. I'm not going to list them individually, but all of the 6th and 7th generation main series Pokemon games that were on the system all sold well. You have the new Super Mario Bros. 2, you have Super Mario 3D Land, you have Animal Crossing New Leaf, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS, that is the full name, just to please Landon, make sure I say it right. And also, Yokai Watch 2 actually sold extremely well as well.
Top 10.
Is this including Japanese sales? Is this worldwide sales?
Worldwide sales, yes.
Yes. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes
sense. Most of those would be in Japan, because there was a brief period where Yokai Watch was actually even bigger than Pokemon over there. Believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it really was that big. Oh, yeah, and also, guys, remember when they added Miiverse to the 3DS?
Yes.
They added Miiverse to the 3DS.
The best part?
It took a year or so to get it after the Wii U had already gotten it, because the Wii U had it as soon as it launched. So you got the Wii U, you had Miiverse. It took them a little bit to get that added to the 3DS, but we would get it in December 2013. So in time for basically like the big, like, kind of like the point when the 3DS really started to take off. Because 2013, 2014, that period was like really big for the system. So added in Miiverse like right around that time. And that was active until they shut down the servers. Rip Miiverse, guys. Just rip
Miiverse.
Also,
pour one out.
One last just bullet point I wanted to say is that the 3DS is home to a decent library of virtual console titles. Now, granted, it is less than both the Wii U and the Wii. The Wii, from what my research said, was over 300, upwards of like 350 or so. It might even be closer to 400. Wii U had at least 250. might be higher than that. The 3DS was closer to about 200, give or take, in North America specifically. And some of those were exclusive to the ambassadors, namely the 10 and only 10 Game Boy Advance games that were ever released that way.
It's kind of funny how they just decided to put 10 3DS games on the 3DS and only release them to the people that bought it early.
Yeah.
Good.
It is.
That makes me feel better than you, because I am better than you.
It is still the only copy of Mario Kart Super Circuit that I actually own.
Damn.
Same.
Sad.
Yeah.
But fair.
Sad
Game
but
shit.
fair.
Yeah. I mean, the game's fun, but like...
Game's shit.
Okay.
Let's agree and move on.
Alright, cool.
We have a whole podcast about that. They can go listen to
We
that
do.
if they
You
really
can talk.
want.
You can check out our awesome Mario Kart podcast for that. So let's get into it. The 3DS had a big library of games. So let's start talking about some games. There was...
Perfect. Let me just talk about all 54 games I would like to bring up today.
54.
All right. I went ahead and I listed out 54 games I wanted to have individual discussions, approximately 10 to 20 minutes on each. So
In
let's
this-
go ahead and jump in.
In this
For a
essay,
while.
I will.
In this essay, I will list off alphabetically games that are on the Nintendo 3DS. Ready, set, go. 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. Classic. These guys haven't played it yet. Very fun RPG, dungeon crawler. You get to make your own characters. Animal Crossing New Leaf. Classic. Need to buy a second copy because I own it digitally and I need a real copy. Fun fact, I had a completed museum, at least for fossils, and then my original 3DS decided to eat shit and die.
Yep.
So I stopped playing Animal Crossing New Leaf. Fuck, that game sucks.
For the Nintendo 3DS.
For the Nintendo 3DS. Here's a fun one. I'm actually going to do this if you don't stop me. Attack of Friday Monsters, A Tokyo Tale, was a very fun sort of slice of life eShop game. Dead to the world now. Thanks.
Do we have any other questions?
So I did want to actually get into not just like talking about just our favorite games. I do want us to talk about like basically like our top like 5 or so. But
I'll come back to this then.
something interesting is that the 3DS had some really, I think, pretty defined eras when it comes to game releases. You had kind of a drought for like the early, like most of 2011. And then you started getting like that picking up steam era when it started in late 20.
Codename Steam?
Sure.
For the Nintendo 3DS?
Codename Steam was in fact a game for Nintendo 3DS. But you had the part where it was picking up steam starting late 2011. That went through to 2012. You had the
Gross.
period that I believe is when the 3DS really took off, which was 2013. That's when you started having big games like Fire Emblem Awakening come out stateside. You had Pokemon later in the year.
2013 was an insane year for the 3DS.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. 2014 carries over. 2015 is when I think it starts to quiet down a little bit. But there was still some, decent games that came out in 2015. 2016 was actually a pretty good year for the 3DS. All things considered, it was late in the system's life, but I mean, that's when you had stuff like Kirby Planet Robobot, Pokemon Sun and Moon had come out that year. I'm sure there's others that I'm thinking of. 2017 was like the last like year that the 3DS had like a major showing of games, but there were still some decent releases eventually all the way through to even like 2019, I think was when Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn came out. So the 3DS had like an 8-year lifespan of like actual direct support, and it had a slow period at the beginning, slow period at the end, but you had a pretty substantial library of games for the successor of the most successful handheld system of all time as of this podcast. Just to keep this future-proof. So
The 3DS is in fact not America's
it's
system.
not America's system.
Only one system can be America's system. and that's the DS, baby.
So what would...
Go
That's why
listen
this
to
is
that podcast.
personal
Yeah,
now.
it's personal this time. So what would you guys say is your favorite games for the system? And if you could like make an observation based on that, what would you say is probably your most defining period for the system as well?
Should we do like top 5?
Yeah, top 5.
Boy, off the top of my head. Animal Crossing New Leaf. Duh. Fire Emblem Awakening. Probably Kid Icarus Uprising. Shit, there was at least... I'm drawing a blank. There was one game in particular I wanted to bring up.
Say whoa, Dave.
All right.
Well, Woe Dave is a multi-platform
Jack,
game.
do you need to...
Oh, Kirby Planet Robobot.
I was gonna say, did you need to check your activity log to remind yourself?
I very well could check my activity log. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you for
Did
reminding
you know
me.
The 3DS had
that the activity log is fucked because if you transfer to a different system, it does not actually transfer your fucking activity log?
Not true.
That sucks.
I've done it multiple times.
That is true. I lost my activity log multiple times. Thank you very much.
Because you didn't transfer it properly. Because I've transferred
I transferred
I've
it.
transferred it multiple times and I still have my actual activity log from day one.
Nope.
You can
fucked.
say whatever you want, but I have my activity log from my first purchase of the first system.
I'm saying it from my perspective, and it never transferred correctly.
That does. I mean, I didn't have the issue with the activity log when I first transferred. My first transfer, I lost my save data because it didn't transfer
See?
over.
Fucking shit's fucked, man.
So I guess the moral of the story here is that the 3DS has a very complicated transfer system. So
Shit's fucked, man.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
if you don't transfer it like perfectly, something's gonna end up getting tossed out on the way. I lost my save data my first time. Landon lost his activity log. So
multiple times,
I like how one of
I don't
my
even bother anymore.
I like how one of my most played games on this system is Pokemon Platinum. Virtue's Last Reward. That's number 5.
I'm sorry, that's multi-plat. Choose a different one.
True. All right, hold on. Can I say Shantae and the Pirate's Curse because it was technically a 3DS exclusive when it first released?
Well, then why don't we say the same thing about Woe Dave?
That's true.
So
you know what?
you can say whatever you want.
No. For some reason, I thought that Woe Dave was on the Vita when it first launched too.
You know, it was a really cool game that came out.
It might have been PC.
You know, it was a really cool game that came out on the 3DS. Mighty Number 9. Oh,
that's true.
that game
did-
never came out on the 3DS.
That game did exist once.
It was supposed
on a system.
I'll never forget. I was supposed to get it for 3DS because that's where I backed the Kickstarter, and they never released the 3DS version, so I never got my 3DS version. That was cool.
I am double checking.
It's probably for the best that I did not get the game, because then I didn't have to suffer for it.
Woe Dave launched on Windows, iOS, OS X, Linux, and 3DS at launch, and then it came out for the Vita like a year later.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
then.
So I would say that my top 5... Did you get your top 5, Jack? Okay.
Yeah. Animal Crossing. Shit. Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Kid Icarus, Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, Kirby Planet Robobot.
Okay. So my 5 would be, number 1 is Bravely Default. I did say on a previous podcast that is now my favorite 3DS game. Took me a really long time to get to finishing it, but it's my favorite. Pokemon Ultra Moon. I think the Pokemon Ultra games are probably like the best Pokemon games for the system. I know that some people don't agree, but those people can go eat shit because I'm not changing my mind. Kirby Planet Robobot as well. Kirby Planet...
Do I still have to eat shit if I disagree, but I respect your opinion?
Kirby Planet Robobot is like
You still
one of the best Kirby games.
It really is.
So that's a really good one. Super Mario 3D Land and Fire Emblem Awakening round out my top 5 as well. I like both of those games a lot. I did
Perfect.
mention...
Perfect.
Okay, don't tell me 50 other games starting in alphabetical order, I swear to God.
I didn't even get...
I know.
It would be 51 more games,
Listen.
actually. We didn't get to 4.
I don't care if it's 51 or 97.
This is going to happen way faster than it took Jack to fucking say 5 games.
Damn. That's lethal.
Alright, ready, go. 7th Dragon 3, Code VFD, Animal Crossing, New Leaf, Attack of the Friday Monsters, A Tokyo Tale, Bit Trip Saga, Box Boy, Box Boy, Bye Bye Box Boy, Code of Princess, Conception 2, Children of the Seven Stars, The Dempamen, They Came by Wave, Dylan's Rolling Western, Dragon Ball Fusions, Escape Vector, Fantasy Life, Fire Emblem Awakening, Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, Fire Emblem Fates, Gunman Clive, Kid Icarus Uprising, Kirby Planet Robobot, The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, Lord of Magna, Maiden Haven, Mario & Luigi Dream Team, Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, Mario Kart 7, Metroid, Samus Returns, Mighty Switch Force, Miitopia, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, Professor Layton and versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Pokemon Moon, Pokemon Omega Ruby, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, Project Cross Zone 2, Project Cross Zone 1. I said those out of order. Pushmo, Radiant Historia, Perfect Chronology, Resident Evil Revelations, Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure, Senran Kagura 2, Deep Crimson, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, Sonic Generations, SteamWorld Dig, Super Mario 3D World, Tetris Access, Tomodachi Life, V. Whoa, Dave.
Okay.
I did it.
Thank you very much for that, I suppose.
You're welcome.
So
about Bit Trip Saga, since that's where we left off on.
You want to tell us about Bit Trip Saga? I mean, we did talk quite a bit about it in our last episode.
It's a good game. Alright, next is Box Boy, Box Boy, and Bye Bye Box Boy. Some classic games from HAL Laboratories that are now dead. Alright, next. You can continue your podcast.
No, I was actually going to just ask you like what your top 5 actually are, though.
My top 5 actually are. So I was looking for this because I went back to when we did our top 20 games of all time. And I was like, I know I posted my full thingy that has all of them. And let me just go back to that. According to me at the time, if we don't include games I played on the 3DS, so basically this is just 3DS original games, that would be Kirby Planet Robobot, Fire Emblem, Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, Resident Evil Revelations, technically Shantae I played on the, I think I played the Wii U version first, I forget. I'm going to skip over that one. 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD and Senran Kagura 2 Deep Crimson.
I was going to ask. I was going to be like,
5.
if your list doesn't have 7th Dragon, this is a fake list because you were fucking hyped about that game when you were playing it.
That game was really good. I love that game.
Game of the Year 2016.
I still have to look into like getting it because I've heard good things. Like you're not like the only person.
It is. The combat is excellent. It is so fun to like come up with parties in that game because you get to basically make your party from the ground up, every party member, and you get to like really customize with classes and stuff. So I really enjoy it. If you can find a copy, like I recommend picking it up. It's probably expensive nowadays because it is a role-playing game.
It's an RPG for a Nintendo handheld that is now defunct, and people love that shit.
I'm going on eBay for you.
I always think of that game, or when I think of that game, I always think of when we did our top games of 2016, because that was your game of the year. But you, before announcing that, decided to spoil all of our games of the years just because they were really obvious choices. Like, yeah, Mine was Uncharted 4, Cloud's was Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Justin's was Doom 2016.
Yeah.
And then none of us knew what the fuck Code 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD was until you were like, yeah, this is my game of the year. And we're just like, okay.
It's like Landon had that hidden in his pocket. And then for like the next several months, he would not shut up about that game. It was a great time.
It's like $75 if you want just a fucking cart.
Jesus!
I see a copy here that's complete in box for $65. It's not sealed.
That's
but
still probably like low end too, though.
Yeah. So, but that's sort of what you're looking at for 7th Dragon.
You are looking at like modern day full retail price just to get a cart at minimum.
Yeah.
That's
maybe. Sometimes you can get a little bit better, but it's a lot of fun. Let me say, like, if you want, like, the story is kind of okay, especially since it's the third game in a series where we really haven't gotten that fucking story, because I think the first two games are Japan only or some shit. But I didn't play those games. I jumped into this one and I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
So
I personally like Bravely Default for similar reasons that you mentioned. Seventh Dragon, just like because of the battle system, the job classes, the fact that you can like, even though you have like defined characters based on a personality perspective, the fact that you can like tune the characters however you want. So you have just all of those options to kind of make your party however you want them to be. That's part of why I really like it.
From a story perspective, like, I would say Bravely Default, story-wise, is probably better than 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD, except for, like, the back half.
Except for, like, that part where, you know, they just gave up on the story till the end of the game.
Yeah. So I think if you weigh both games based off of that, like, it's kind of similar. Yeah. 7th Dragon has like an okay story the whole way through, whereas
you know,
there's
Bravely Default has a big plateau near the beginning, and then it just like falls off a cliff for a while, and then it like starts to pick up again right at the end. That's about it.
Yeah,
you got a nice
So like
in the middle,
but as far as gameplay goes, like both are very solid.
Jack, do you want to talk about a game that's not an RPG for the 3DS that I assume you like more than either of those two games?
You mentioned like 5 of them.
I just want to hear like your defense of like your top favorite game, or one of them.
Oh, I don't know. In defense of my top favorite game, here. Do you want me to pull up my activity log again and show you how long I played
without actually saying actual words? Just show the playtime for Animal Crossing New Leaf, and you're just like, I played this many hours.
I literally put it up. I don't think you guys noticed it. I put it up to the camera earlier.
I did see it, but
I could have sworn you spent more time than that on the game, though. Like
he probably did. He probably lost.
Yeah, did you lose
200 hours from transferring?
I was gonna say, did you also lose activity log hours?
You know,
you might have lost because I think I remember you saying that you would like pass like 1,000.
No, because it says here that it's first played was
2011,
June 11th,
or
2013.
Okay,
which was when the game came out. So no, I think I was probably just over exaggerating how long I had actually played it, but 522 hours is honestly more than I remember.
I remember New Leaf coming out earlier than that.
It was. I remember because it was right after I graduated high school, and my sister and I played it a lot when it first came out. Originally, we were going to.
It came out in Japan a lot earlier. That's why. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. I remember originally my sister and I were just going to share the same cart because that's what we did for not New Leaf, Wild World on the DS. But we learned that there can only be one mayor per town, so just ended up getting my own copy of the game like the day after. But It was a good decision.
I mean,
because then we didn't have to take turns playing.
I've
it.
heard to this day there are Animal Crossing fans that still consider it the best game in the series. So
I could definitely see that argument, and I probably wouldn't disagree, just based on how much time I've spent in it.
yeah,
Yeah, it did a lot of things right.
there was a lot
and-
of really good games for the 3DS. Like when you, like, I don't know about you, I know that Landon can vouch for the same, but this is like probably one of the first systems that I started collecting games for. Like I would just buy lots of games for this thing.
I think the thing about the 3DS library is that it's really strong. It, like, when you look at it as a whole, it is a really strong library, but a lot of the individual titles, for the most part, are, like, with the exception of, like, Animal Crossing, well, actually not even Fire Emblem, because I like Three Houses more than Awakening, but, like, Animal Crossing, like, Kid Icarus, I guess, because
By default, it's the
one of
by
default.
I can get what you're trying to get at. You're basically saying that
But, like-
like it has a deep library, but unlike other systems, none of them can really tout that they're the best in their respective series. They're just
Yeah.
good entries.
I disagree.
I mean that there's an argument that could be made for that. I would say that the output was still far above average, in my opinion, at least.
Landon, would you say that's the case for Pokemon on this system?
I think Pokemon games on this dog
I
shit.
would say Landon does not like the Pokemon games that came out on this system.
I liked Sun and Moon.
Sun
I
and Moon
did
are
not-
fine.
I
I
did
have
not-
no beef against them.
I did not play Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon far enough to give like a full opinion, and I do want to get back to that
Yeah,
one
so
day.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are unfortunately victims of their time and the business practices that were just getting to be too much at the time, because it was like Pokemon comes out every year. They come out with a third version. And then they were like, unlike Black and White 2, which were sequels, these ones are literally just the same game, but also split in two. So like,
Yeah.
but they touched it up in a way that it's still like on par with like your Emerald, your Crystal, your Platinum. It's just that
They just didn't need to make it 2 games.
yeah, they didn't need to make it 2 games, and honestly, they probably shouldn't have released it 1 year later, because it came out literally the year after.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember, like, that was the big problem that critics had with, like, the third game in a trilogy, or in a trio of a Pokemon generation, like, Emerald, Platinum, you know, Black 2 and White 2 also, but, to a lesser extent.
Well, the thing is
But, like-
this was the worst case of it, because like
Yeah, no, like, that's what I was gonna say. There was all at least 2 years of space between the original duo and the third game.
except Crystal. Crystal
Okay.
came out the year after, but here's the thing. Crystal also did very poorly compared to other Pokemon
Yeah.
games. Like most people skipped over Crystal.
Yeah.
And I mean, most people skipped over Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the same reason. But I mean,
I feel like
Emerald came out 2
but
years later. Platinum came out 2 years later. And Black 2...
Black 2 and White 2 came out like a year and a half later, but I feel like
And-
enough time had passed.
and they are
plus the
sequel.
fact that it's they're sequel games, not like it's not the same story.
Right. So when
So-
you came out with this new Pokemon game that was the same as last year's, and it was 1 year after, like a lot of people got sick of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's a strong game. But yeah, like you said, like some of the games are, you know,
But anyway, my favorite Pokemon games on the system are the Gen 3 remakes. Shocking.
of course they are.
But like I like Sun and Moon. I think they're good games. I played through Sun and Moon I think twice, and I had a pretty good time both times I played them. They're not some of my favorite games in the series, but like it's fun.
I'll say that I think Kirby definitely had some of the strongest output on this system out of all the systems that it had been on so far, just because of the quantity and quality like on display.
Yeah.
Because like the DS had Squeak Squad, which is okay, and then it had Mass Attack,
Squeak Squad is good.
and then it had Mass Attack.
I would say Well, yeah, fuck
And
Max
it
Attack.
had
but like,
Canvas Curse, which I mean,
the DS did have Superstar Ultra, which isn't a
True.
wholly unique or like wholly new game, but it did add game modes.
so it had Superstar
So-
Ultra. That's a big one. But the 3DS
Like the
had
definitive.
uh,
The 3DS had Triple Deluxe, which is
pretty
like
good.
about. It's on par with Squeak Squad, I would say.
Yeah.
Like they're both like good Kirby games, just nothing too crazy in terms of like what they're doing. But like Planet Robobot, now that's a fucking video game.
Remember when they released like 5 different little Kirby like sub games on the eShop as well?
Yep. I remember not playing any of
I
them.
played one of them. I think it was like the first Battle Royale or something. I don't remember. There was like an RPG one that I played like a little bit of. It was like really I can't remember the name of that one. Was it about? No, I don't think it was. It was. I don't remember. There was.
Unrelated, but I like how I'm just looking at the list of bestsellers on the 3DS, the top 50 anyway, and I like how Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, Yellow sold well enough on the Virtual Console
Oh yeah.
that they are included on this list.
Oh yeah. The 3DS Virtual Console releases of those games were some of the best selling of their Virtual Console.
1.5 million.
I am 3 of those sales.
Pokemon Rumble Blast is also on here.
Hell yeah.
Ew.
Lynn is like, finally a good game.
We finally got to talking about a good game that I did not bring up earlier.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, which is a game that I have not played, but I've heard is the worst Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
It is
Generally regarded.
aggressively
Yeah,
fine.
it's not a bad game. It's just generally, the worst of them. Fire Emblem was a series that I think did really strong on the 3DS. Landon had likes Shadows of Valentia a lot. That's a really good remake of a game that we didn't get previously outside of Japan. You had that was also honestly probably when like the production value I think really started to show up a lot more. Like obviously they were already doing pretty good with like producing higher quality Fire Emblem games with Awakening. That was the breakout success. You had you had Fates, which I mean, take it or leave it, like they were still well produced, but like I don't know, there was something about like how they made Echo's Shadows of Valentia that was just like they were definitely stepping their game up around that time. So you had
It's so fucking good. I love that game.
So yeah, you had a good strong library. Like I agree with Jack that I think Three Houses is like better than them, but like that was
smelly.
It was that and N-Gage are the only like 2 major like Fire Emblem main series games we've gotten on the Switch so far, and I don't think we're getting a third one before the successor comes out. So like you get 3 good Fire Emblem games on the 3DS. Ooh, 3. It's a recurring number.
Well, there was 3 Fire Emblem games for the Switch, if you include the
Warriors.
digital digital port of the original
that's
game.
True. I have that one actually.
I do too. It is Dead Media.
Yep. They just threw it off the eShop afterwards for some reason.
Because they're smelly.
It was the same day that they were ending distribution for Super Mario 3D All-Stars as well. They were just like, hey, these games are going away now because we feel like it, because we said so. Say bye. That was fun.
Okay, bye. Now let's talk about some really fucking good shit. My god, you guys are prattling on about the nonsense. Tomodachi Life, Miitopia. Let's go.
I still need to play those.
True. What a fucking... I love Tomodachi
The
Life.
3DS...
It's
so
silly
fun.
and dumb. You can get about like a decent 10 hours out of it. It's silly. It gets repetitive, sure, but like it's funny to watch like the Miis in the game like build relationships, fuck, have kids, and then at that point I'm like, all right. And then they do like weird shit. There's some pretty fun mini games. There's a mini game that is basically Miitopia before Miitopia. There's like an RPG.
Yeah,
in
say
Tomodachi Life.
Oh, you're talking about Tomodachi Life had one like that too, because they also had the StreetPass had like some sub games, and one of them was the original incarnation. They called it Save Me, and I didn't realize that they also had that in Tomodachi Life, like something like that, before moving on to Miitopia.
Yeah, so they did a couple iterations of that. Miitopia, I would say, overstays its welcome because it like does like a plot twist like 3 times, and you're like, okay, we didn't need to do this, but okay. But otherwise, like it's fine. It's fun.
What game came out first? Was it Tomodachi Life or Bravely Default? So we can
Bravely Default, I
So we-
think, just
I think so.
by a few
so
months.
we can blame Bravely Default for Tomodachi Life pulling the same shit.
Well, no, it was Miitopia that did that shit.
Oh, that's what I meant. Miitopia.
Yeah, and in that case, yes, definitely, the one, whatever you said, Bravely Default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody that was working at Nintendo making Miitopia was like, "Hey, we should copy their homework. It's really bad homework, but let's copy it."
Yeah, we want a failing grade too.
True. But yeah, no, there was a lot of good games on the 3DS. Did you collect a bunch of 3DS games, Jack?
I have a decent amount. I wouldn't say I necessarily collected them, unfortunately. I wish I bought more at the time, but I have physically, I want to say somewhere between 20 and 30.
Okay, so you're around the same amount as me. I have, according to my game collection app, if I didn't forget to add anything, I have 26 games.
It's not bad.
That's only physical though. I do have quite a few digital games as well that I just haven't added, so it's probably closer to like 35, because I know I have a decent amount digitally. Now,
Should I go now?
I was gonna say you talked about
Oh, you don't want to know the number?
I mean,
Oh yeah. What is the number?
yeah.
It's probably
how many?
I'm gonna say less than 100.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
Is it
86.
Cloud.
I'm gonna say a bigger number, and it might be way over, but I'm gonna say 120.
Jack is closer.
Okay.
It is 94.
Woo! Closer without going over.
Now, that is only physical games. Cloud is probably much closer with digital.
In fact, there's a good chance that I actually don't go over when you include digital.
Yeah. That depends if we include Virtual Console or not,
True.
but like with like just 3DS game, like I'm gonna fucking count while you guys talk about something. But yeah, I own 94 physical games. Some of those are Japanese. I own 3 Japanese games that I cannot play. One of those is a second copy of Shantae, because Shantae and the Pirate's Curse originally came out in Japan for the 3DS, like physically, and then months later came out
So you
US.
you imported it the first time, and then you got another copy when it came out.
Correction. Landon did not import it. I bought it for him as a Christmas gift.
Oh,
It's true.
okay, that's right. I
And
forgot
then
about that.
the US release came out, and I was like, well, I'm just going to also own that, because
Yeah.
I can play that one.
True. But no, as you were going to look through that, I did want to mention, speaking of talking about like virtual console games, getting into the features of the 3DS, the eShop was pretty fucking cool on the 3DS. I don't know if you guys would agree, but the 3DS was
It had a good eShop.
I like the eShop on it. It had a good selection of stuff you could get. Remember when they like had like what was it, Dinosaur Office?
Dinosaur
Office.
Roar! Real ones know.
Dinosaur Office.
I fucking love Dinosaur
Oh
Office.
yeah. Al mentioned hacking your 3DS to play physical Japanese 3DS games. True.
Oh,
the
true.
3DS is surprisingly easy to hack. I've already done it, I think twice, maybe even 3 times. And after the first time when I figured it out, I had no issues, and it is actually one of the easiest things I've ever done. So
61 digital titles
wow,
that are not virtual
that's
console related.
Holy
155 total.
So that's so not including virtual console games or DSiWare, or like the Ambassador Program games.
Right.
That's I own another 61.
That's a lot.
Now, that is 3 copies of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse total.
Hell yeah. Not enough.
And if we include the vaporware version that I own for the PS or the Wii U,
You own it 4
well,
times.
there's that too. I owned it 4 times. I don't own that anymore because, well, there you go.
How do you
Anyway.
feel about the eShop, Landon, for the 3DS?
The 3DS eShop was decent. It was, like, kind of slow. But that's, I think, a lot of times is just because the 3DS...
Not even just the 3DS, just like at the time, like if you go back to any of the hardware, like maybe the 360 was better. Like even the PS3 is slow. Like doing it online, like the shop at least.
Yeah, so like it was fine. It was functional. The music was fun. I liked watching the bits fall. When you were like when it was downloading a game.
Yeah.
I
True.
think at that point in time, because we're in the world of like we don't need to make up space numbers. Like, why are we making up like a unit of memory for this system when we could just say the number of gigabytes or megabytes that a game is? We don't need to make up a fake memory.
They still use
In
they
blocks.
still use that, and that was a thing since the GameCube. Because they actually
I know.
did they do that with the expansion pack on the N64 as well? I'm trying to remember if they
I don't know.
used blocks as like the metric. But yeah, that was just a thing that Nintendo did until like the Wii U came out. Like they were
Pretty
they
much.
were just
like that was the.
they were just
So, and they could have easily updated the fucking system to like
not say
just
blocks.
not have that.
But no,
just
it literally
just say the memory size. Don't make up a fucking weird thing. But here we are.
Blocks.
Blocks. But like, I think overall, like it had a decent presentation. You could find things on it. They would update, like, they would cycle in all of the
categories of like things that they would like kind of like highlight.
Yeah, they would do features. They had like a dedicated section for Virtual Console.
Yep.
The issue is like scrolling through pages and pages.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause they
took a while. You had to go to the end of a page to go to the next.
Right, and they
yeah.
only showed so many games per page too, so like you had to
Yeah.
really like dig if you wanted to find stuff. But I mean, it was still definitely a smoother experience than the Switch, I will say at least.
For the most part. I mean, it had a curated stuff.
Exactly.
Which made it easy. You could find like the deals. You could find like it had a recommended section, which was cool.
Yeah, I did like that. They would like go
yeah.
based off of like the data that was on your 3DS, like what did you download, what have you played, and it'd be like, oh, you might like this game. Now, granted, a lot of that was like the low-hanging fruit stuff, but still.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you bought a Pokemon? Here's all Pokemon games that released for the system. And, I don't know, Mario, because
you're a Nintendo fan, apparently,
fuck it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they would like show simple stuff. They'd be like, oh, you played Sonic Generations? Have you played Mario 3D Land? Have you played Kirby Planet. Like they would like show you like other like popular games from the same like genre.
Yeah.
I'm back. What's up?
We're still talking about the 3DS eShop, but to move on from that,
Fuck yeah.
other really cool things about the 3DS. I mean, we've talked about Miiverse with the Wii U, because that was like the big thing that the Wii U came with was Miiverse. So I don't think we really have to spend too much time on that. It was the same kind of thing, just on the 3DS instead, and there were quite a few games that like had some cool interactions with that. I'm trying to think of like a game off the top of my head that I used Miiverse at all on the 3DS, but nothing is really coming to mind. I guess Fire Emblem Awakening, I did remember some
Miiverse? What would you use it for Miiverse for? Because the bigger thing for a lot of games was like the StreetPass Spot Pass.
Yeah, Spot Pass.
Like,
Okay, yeah, Spot
yeah.
Pass. That was.
Yeah, because like in Fire Emblem Awakening, you could share your team
Right.
with other people and battle their team.
That's what I was thinking of.
Um,
I'm mixing up Miiverse and Spot Pass.
Yeah, that's the thing when you have like so many different systems and they're all like online connectivity.
I was gonna say there's so many different ways that you could connect on the 3DS. Like I don't think there was like any system that's ever done all those things at once that the 3DS was using.
Definitely not because of StreetPass. Like, no system really has something like that, as unique as that. Like, I mean, some systems, I guess, the DS with the fucking PictoChat.
I was gonna say
Like, you could go in a local for that, but it didn't even, like, come close to what StreetPass did functionally over, like, several games.
Like StreetPass was even more robust than the PSP's ad hoc system. Like PSP had like a wireless like connectivity feature. It was kind of hard and convoluted to use if you were a stupid kid, which most people playing handhelds at the time, myself included, were stupid kids. So yeah, I think the 3DS was like, not only did it have, the most robust features with the StreetPass, we've already mentioned like the sub games and stuff that you could do by collecting people that you connected with, but also just the easiest to use. Speaking of collecting people though, this was Nintendo's first time implementing a friends list. You can actually just add people directly to your friends list instead of getting a weird 12-digit code to add someone on every game you want to play with them on. Because that's what they did on the Wii and the DS.
Yup.
I miss those days. Let's go back to that.
Let's go back to friend codes.
Yeah, I miss friend codes.
I mean,
technically
we still
fucking
have friend codes, but you don't need them like you did back
Yeah,
then.
but I only want the friend codes.
Landon wanted an excuse to ask people what their digits were.
Hey, what are you digits? No, I don't need your phone number. That's gross.
No, you want them.
Give me your friend codes.
You see their 7 digits and you're just like, where's the rest of it?
Yeah, you're missing like
Where's the rest of it?
several
5
digits
more?
there.
That those digits are too small. But yeah, we've touched on Spot Pass, Street Pass. You had the activity log. Landon mentioned
All
Face
right.
Raiders, so
Shut up. What was your thoughts on the stereoscopic 3D?
oh, I loved it. I think it was like my favorite implementation of motion controls that I like actually played games using.
Motion controls?
Oh, you said 3D. Why did I was mentioning? You said stereoscopic. You said stereoscopic, so I thought. So because people don't say stereoscopic 3D, they just say Like, how'd you feel about the 3D?
What 3D? I don't know what that means.
The stereoscopic 3D is neat. I would never use it for more than like 10 minutes at a time, honestly. If I did, for the most part, if I would just like avoid using it, because on the original 3DS, you had to be facing the camera directly, like at a perfect 90 degree, well, not 90 degree angle, but just like facing it head on. If you tilt your head or tilt the system even a little bit, boop, you got double vision.
Yeah.
They fixed that in later versions of the system where they have like a face tracker, so like you can actually like turn the system slightly and still get the 3D effect.
Right, yeah.
So it got better, but I still didn't really use it that much. Like, it was neat, but it was never something that I thought about a lot.
So you're probably like the average person that used the system. I'll say I used to use the 3D a lot. I stopped using it as much because the games that I was playing, they either didn't use it a whole lot, or they were named Pokemon X and Y, where they lagged the system and made it undesirable to use the 3D. So like and then eventually they just stopped doing 3D in the Pokemon games because the system, they just couldn't. I don't think it was the system's fault. I think it was partially just Game Freak didn't know how to make a game that could support 3D and not lag to shit.
Game Freak is so bad at optimizing their games for their systems. Like, they got it pretty much since the DS. They've been really bad about doing that.
Oh yeah.
Well, when you turn a franchise into a yearly franchise and you don't give them a budget.
Well, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah.
Give them more time and a better budget.
I'll say,
and
so since you only used it a little bit, what would you say would be like your favorite game that you use the 3D for, Jack?
You know, I used it for Kid Icarus Uprising a lot, just because that game came with the stand.
Yeah.
So, like, it was completely stationary when you're playing. So, I think I used it for that more than anything.
I would say that my favorite game for the 3D, it's kind of hard to like choose a specific one, because I've played so many games on the 3DS and I use the 3D for a lot. I would say Super Mario 3D Land is good. I like the way
it's a good one.
I like the way that they were able to use it to add depth perception. It made it a lot easier to really like tell where I was at. I think also they had parts of the game where like if you had it was meant to be on so that you could see like kind of like how deep, because like they had like those like side areas that were, if you didn't have the 3D on, you couldn't tell that there was like stuff in the foreground, stuff in the background. So you were supposed to like have the 3D on so you could see that. I like that one. Bravely Default, not so much mechanically, but just art style wise, looks incredible with the 3D on. Just because of the style that they went with, it looks just really, really nice to have that extra pop. We talked about Bit Trip Saga and the 3D effect on that in the last episode. I still think that it looks really cool because it's just a simple game, style-wise. So when you have that simplicity, but then you have like the 3D effect, like pulsating, depending on how good you're doing, that's just a really cool way to use the 3D. I think a lot of games look really good with the 3D effect. It's just that, like, I mean, you don't need to use it for most of the time. So
I remember enjoying using it when I first played through Mighty Switch Force, because it was a game that had a lot of focus on foreground, background with the blocks that you would switch in and out. So like it utilized it. That's like the big one that comes to mind. It was a game that you didn't mention. Yeah.
I was gonna say another one I did want to mention was probably Super Street Fighter 4 3D, because of like how they use like the paint splashes in Street Fighter 4. That was just a style that they went with. The way that they they have that with the graphic style and you put it in 3D, it's really nice visual effects that way. I think it pops really nice. But yeah, I mean, I could honestly go on for too long talking about the 3D effect on games. I played a lot of them. Oh.
Yeah, I think outside of Kid Icarus, I think 3D Land is not only like one of the games that I use the 3D the most in, but also I think one of the games that utilized it the best. Like, I don't know, they did a great job with it.
I mean, later on, like we said, they stopped kind of making it a focal point of the system.
Yeah.
Like, there were games coming out late in the system's lifespan that actually just didn't use the 3D. And I mean, it was was for the best though, because like they were coming out with, this was like after the Switch was releasing, after they came out with the 2DS XL, so that was like the thing that was like their only, like, the way that they were supporting the 3DS at that point. So when like the one version of the system you're selling doesn't have 3D, there was kind of no point in games coming out after that to have 3D support, because your version of the system doesn't even have it. So I mean, Landon, did you want to mention anything about the 3D Classics series of games that they would come out with? Because they ported a few games that were like old games and they added 3D depth to it.
They did. There's some really good ones. Probably the best one was Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah.
That they did. But they did like Excite Bike and some other ones.
And they weren't just Nintendo that did these. Sega did quite a few. They did like a few Sonic games.
Sega had a really cool...
They had a collection, right?
They had... So, in America, they had one collection. We got collection number 2. And they just didn't label it as number 2 because they were like, fuck you guys. They had 3 collections in Japan.
Wow.
That covered, like, a lot of their, like, classic shit. And some of those were actually really good. They had the Sonics, but they also had some of the Puyo Puyos.
Yep.
And, like, Ultra Beasts and stuff. Like, it was, like, the one collection we got was fantastic. I really wish they had done the other 2 collections out here, because that shit was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, no, Sega had a pretty good output on this system, and like that was one of the things that they did really good with too.
Sega, Capcom, and Square, I feel, all did really well. And then Atlas had a lot of good stuff too.
I think this is probably like the system that really helped Atlas start taking off. Because, like, I mean, they had some decent stuff here and there on, like, the PS2 and the generation before that. But, like, there was, like, just a following that was growing and growing when Atlas was putting out stuff on the 3DS. And, like, that momentum was really starting to show. Because, like, I think, like, I mean, by the time Persona 5 came out and there was all of these new Atlas fans that were joining in, plus the hype for a new Persona after like so long since the last one, it just kind of culminated. I think the 3DS did have an effect on helping people jump into the Atlas bandwagon. There's a lot of good games for it.
I mean, between 18,000 Etrian Odysseys,
Etrian Odyssey,
and
Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Survivor, Digital Devil Saga, those are like a bunch.
Yeah, they did a bunch of ports of some of the older ones. They also did Strange Journey Redux, and then they had 4. the 4 and 4 Apocalypse, the actual like new SMTs,
that was a big
which
one.
I had mentioned. Those were both fantastic. 4 is like one of my, like, it is absolutely a favorite game of mine as well. Yeah. So it's like, they did really well, but like Capcom, like you mentioned, Street Fighter, and one of my favorites, Resident Evil Revelations, is like, that is still one of my favorite 3DS games. It was within the first year of release, like it came out really early in 2012, and it is a fantastic looking game for the 3DS.
It is.
It plays really smooth.
It's insane how good Capcom got so fast at making good performing and good looking 3DS games. Like, they were just right out the gate.
I really wish Revelations 2 had been like a 3DS game. It probably would have been like way different than what the Revelations 2 we got. But like, it would have been cool to see like an actual follow-up to Resident Evil Revelations.
Yeah. One last thing I want to touch on for games specifically before we move on is, I mean, this is something that Landon had touched on back in our Wii podcast, but the 3DS also was a system that had a lot of like digital support when it came to like digital exclusive games. At least a lot of games would start digital. Some of them would get physical releases later. But there was a lot of games that came out digitally for the 3DS that did pretty well. I mean, you had Shovel Knight originally had come out digitally. Believe it did get a physical release later. You had stuff like the Denpa. You had wasn't the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes digital?
No,
no.
That one had a physical. They did a DSiWare version of Four Swords.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did do that.
Came out, and you could get for the 3DS. That one was digital only.
You had the first Senran Kagura that we got, Senran Kagura Burst, was a digital title. It came out. It was weird though, because it was like they combined multiple releases from like the Japanese versions, which did have physical versions, and I think Burst might have been released, might have had a physical release later, or
Burst. So Burst had both versions of Senran Kagura 1 had a physical release in Japan. Yeah. Burst was just the second release, and that's the version we got.
Right.
Yeah.
There was Pushmo?
Pushmo. That was an early title. That was really good. It had a sequel, Crashmo. It was like called Pole Block. Was like the European name for Pushmo.
Azure Striker Gunvolt originally was a digital only release. They also paired it with Mighty Gunvolt, which was supposed to be like a crossover, which they've done multiple times between Azure Striker Gunvolt and the Mighty series that never took off. So yeah, no, I mean, we could go into on and on. I'm sure you have quite a few others you could just mention.
I mean, I mentioned a lot of them when I just spewed game names. All the Box Boy games, those are all really good. The first three are on that. There was a couple games in the Dylan's Rolling Western series, which was like a tower defense style game where you played as a Sheriff Armadillo. I had mentioned Gunman Clive. That one was like a really cool shmup that was made for it, where you played as a Western Sheriff again. And then I mentioned Mighty Switch Force. Mighty Switch Force also had the sequel, Mighty Switch Force 2. Both of those really good. We talked about Pushmo. Shantae was originally a digital-only game. SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist were both really fun games. SteamWorld Dig being a Metroidvania-style game. And then...
there was Pocket Card Jockey from Game Freak, actually. It was like a weird collecting and card game that you could do. That one was a digital game that quite a few people liked.
Yeah, there was that. They also had, was it Harmonite, which was a it was like a rhythm platformer that Game Freak had done. And then V, which was a port of the PC version, but it was actually a really good version for the 3DS. And then Wodave, I had mentioned that before. Just a fucking great arcade game. Just a fucking great game. Oh yeah, love that game.
Whoa, Dave! I want to play Wodave again at some point. It's been a hot minute since I played Wodave, but I know I have it somewhere. So yeah, Wodave's good. Jack, did you have anything to add? Digital? Did you get into digital games a lot for the 3DS?
I had a few. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything on this system that I can shout out. Or want to.
Because, I mean, I definitely have.
That you guys haven't already. Let's see. Yes, my favorite app, Pokemon Bank.
We know I already mentioned Shovel Knight, Summer Conquer Burst, Azure Striker.
I really loved Pokemon Sun and Moon Special Demo version that I still have on here.
I always forget there's actually a third. They released 3 Pushmo games for the fucking 3DS. I always forget of Stretchmo.
Oh, yeah.
I have that.
There's quite a few Mo games.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, how can you forget the classic title, Pokédex 3D.
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of different games.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that you guys have mentioned that I don't think there's anything that you guys haven't mentioned that I wanted to.
Right. So going back to other aspects of the system, what would you guys say, at least like software wise, not like strictly like features, but like actual like support software that you could interact with? What would you say is like some of your favorite stuff that the 3DS had to offer? I mean, you had stuff like I'm kind of having a hard time trying to like.
It's our favorite app.
Yeah, it's not activity log for you. That's for sure.
No, I mean, I did like that until.
I
guess it doesn't specifically have to be like non-gameplay. Like it can have gameplay to it, but it's not like functionally entirely like a game. Like, I mean, StreetPass does have gameplay to it because of the sub games that you can play. But
I was gonna say the StreetPass Meat Plaza was like my favorite because like it was like a way to interact with people.
Yeah.
And I could collect puzzle pieces, and I completed every single puzzle. That was the only like game on that I cared about, even though they released a bunch of extra ones down the road. But I was like, oh, I just want puzzle pieces.
I remember for a brief period, I did actually use like some of the other stuff, like because you can take pictures with this thing, just like you could with the DSi. You could even take 3D pictures. It was really weird.
I know I've told you guys this before, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. My favorite part of the 3DS was when I was at one of my local retro stores, and they got one traded in, and there was bona fide 3D porn on that baby.
I forgot.
Home movies in 3D.
Oh my god, that's
so. Yeah, definitely. That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
It's a little okay.
I love home movies in 3D.
I remember I tried to use like the music player because like you could like load music onto it and then like play it like an MP3 player, and you could also for some reason like make your own sounds and stuff. It was weird.
I remember you could not use that in sleep mode. Like you couldn't listen to the music while the system was in sleep mode, and so I stopped using it.
That's why I stopped using it. I was like, what's the point?
What's the point of this?
Right. In fact, I remember it being a big deal when they were like, because I think they did it so like the music player in Smash Brothers let you do it while even if it was like in sleep mode, I think, if I remember correctly. Like
Jesus
like
Christ.
They like, I think I remember there was like during the presentation they were like, oh, and you can also listen to it when your 3DS is in sleep. Like I think that was a thing that they like. I feel like I'm not misremembering this.
Fucking self-burn.
Like
oh my
god. Like they had to.
Jack, did you have an app that you liked? And was it just watching the Imagine Dragons music video?
Oh god.
Players can mark songs as favorites, play through the entire soundtrack or favorites playlist, play them on shuffle mode, repeat a song, and listen to them while the Nintendo 3DS is in sleep mode. Headphones are required to use this function. They made that a feature, and like we're like, you can do this.
Gross.
So yeah.
No, I don't have a favorite app.
So we've gone over all of these different like features that the 3DS has. I mean, you have 3D, you have gyro. Since I tried to think about talking about this earlier when you were talking about something else, did you guys utilize the gyro controls for much? Like we talked about like Zelda 3 Ocarina of Time 3D, but was there anything else where like you made use of it? I mean, yeah, Face Raiders, Pokemon Dream Radar. I'm sure that there's some like other games that like utilize the gyro controls, but I can't remember. It wasn't a thing I used a lot.
You know what? You know what game uses the gyro controls in a really shitty way?
Goodness.
Sonic Lost World for the 3DS.
Oh, I remember you.
Special stages.
Oh.
Where you control Sonic in this like space. It's just space, and he flies around, and you have to gyroscope your 3DS to collect orbs, and it's clunky.
God, that sounds terrible.
It's so clunky.
The game I probably used the most was Resident Evil Revelations when I did my first playthrough, because it was like, honestly, that was a game that they designed that should have had a second stick, but it didn't. So like, and I didn't have the wash tub attachment that you had to do for like the full actual stick for the original model.
Yeah.
So like, gyroscope was like definitely the easiest way to just do the aiming with that.
Yeah. I think the games that
I
utilized it
remember
for
playing that a
like
lot.
aiming were pretty good, because that's like how people would like aim the bow with Ocarina of Time as well. I think just any of those like instances where like you could just aim just to shoot things was probably pretty helpful with that.
I have no idea how I played through the entirety of that game for the channel without being able to do that. Because I just used a camera to fucking record that, so there was no way to use gyroscope while I was doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, I did it.
It's true. But as for
I will say one thing really quick is, you mentioned the Virtual Console.
yes,
I loved the Virtual Console. There was a lot of games that it was like the first time I got to play one of these games when it was released on it. Some big ones that I really enjoyed from it. I bring up Triple Trouble a lot. This was actually like the 3DS Virtual Console release was like the first time I really played Triple Trouble. And there was some other really good Game Gear games. The Game Gear got some decent love through the 3DS. And another 2 Game Boy games that to this day I absolutely love are Sword of Hope 2 and Gargoyle's Quest. I played Gargoyle's Quest for the channel earlier this year, and then Sword of Hope 2 is just a fantastic RPG for the Game Boy. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, because while it probably had less games, it had such a unique catalog that it was really cool.
no, I agree. There's a lot of games that I actually played for like the first time thanks to the Virtual Console releases. That was actually how I played through several of the classic Mega Man games, because I have all the first 6 Mega Man games. This was before they would eventually release the Legacy Collection too, because they didn't release the Legacy Collection until fairly late in the cycle, but they had previously put out all of them on the Wii. I didn't get them on the Wii, but they would put them on the 3DS as well. That's how I got access to all of those games. It was also how I beat The Legend of Zelda for the first time. Thank God for restore points. I love them adding restore points. That
was one thing,
so
is like, this is the first like of Nintendo's systems to have restore points, because the Wii did not. The Wii Virtual Console like releases, you could
quick save.
You could basically quick save, but even sometimes that didn't work because it was fucking janky. But this, you actually had like a restore point, which was nice. And any of the Sega released ones actually like had more options, but like just even having the restore point was nice for the more generic Nintendo released ones.
Yeah. Now, there were a few games that came out that they wouldn't have the restore point for, namely the Pokemon releases, because fucking Pokemon, man. I don't know why they pull this shit, but they do. But almost all of them did have the restore point, and even when the new 3DS had come out and they started doing the SNES games, because the Super Nintendo games
were only for those models. They also implemented the same support for those. Like, that's how I actually was able to get into playing Earthbound for the first time. I'm not done with it yet. I still have to get back to it. But thanks to the new 3DS and the Virtual Console, I was able to actually start playing Earthbound for the first time. It was also how I beat Super Mario Brothers 1 for the first time as well. I had never beaten it before, and I spammed restore points because I'm a scrub and I suck. So
Hell yeah.
not afraid to admit that. And I did the same thing for Mega Man 2. I can't lie. I did a lot of save restore point scumming for the Mega Man games. That's why the 3DS is good. It started that. You can save scum thanks to the 3DS. But yeah, the Virtual Console, there was a lot of good features with that. I mean, we've talked about. Jack, did you end up ever like having a special theme for your 3DS? Because like you could get like themes as well.
Oh yeah, you just talking about like the main menu?
Because like the 3DS had like a big deal where like this was a period when like systems had like profile themes that you could use for like the home screen. Like the PS3 had it. I don't know if the 360 did, but the 3DS had it.
I'm pretty sure I have like 10 themes that are just on shuffle, and it's random depending on it. Just whichever. I mean, I just turned it on, and I got Roddy Tops.
Nice
in the background. But I also have like, here, let's see what all I have on my home menu. Yeah, I just have it set to shuffle favorites, which includes Pokemon, Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre. I have Mega Man Stage Select. I have a Mighty Switch Force theme. I got the Roddy Tops theme. I got the Xenoblade Chronicles theme. I got the Shantae theme, the Majora's Mask theme, and the Animal Crossing bulletin board.
The only special themes that I have are for the Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Gold version ones, which I like them because they play music as well as have like a collage of like the old Gold Silver art, Kensugimori art for all the Pokemon. Because that was something that they did with like some of the themes, is they didn't just have visuals, they also had like sound effects and music that could play as well. Like when you open up the 3DS, you get like the Pokemon Center Restoration theme as well. It's pretty cool.
Oh, you know what? I remember for a long time I did not have a set. For a long time I used the Dreamcast theme, which just looks like a Dreamcast.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
Which is
I was gonna say the background to that looks like the art, the box art for Sonic Adventure. They just took Sonic out. They were like Dreamcast theme.
Yeah, Dreamcast.
There you go.
What? It's look at the system and the thing move.
That is pretty cool. It's kind of hard to see it when you have like the icons over it, but when you like move away from them, that's neat. What you got, Landon, for us?
So I have like 20 different themes that I had, but for my shuffle, is currently Pokemon Gold Silver Cast, Metroid, Samus Returns, Samus Aran, Variety Tops theme, Shantae Beach, Sega Game Gear theme, Wodave Alien Invasion, Mighty Switch Force theme, Shantae Pirate theme, and Zelda 2 Worlds. But I have like ones, I have a couple for like Radiant Historia had a couple, Strange Journey Redux also had a theme, Box Boy had one, Seventh Dragon had one, I have the Sonic series 25th anniversary, SMT4 Apocalypse had one, Rhythm Heaven, Rampage, Hyrule Warriors Legends, Project Cross Zone 2. I have a Monster Hunter theme for some reason. I think it was.
I was gonna say.
So
I think a lot of themes. They would like. I think you got some themes like with the purchase of a game that came with it too.
Some of them,
because I think that's how I got the Pokemon ones. I don't remember paying for them.
Yeah, and then there was like I have a Zelda Majora's Mask Moon one, and then I have a Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal one. So
Oh, goodness.
I have a few.
Yeah, you have a lot.
But yeah.
So, yeah, that's... Is there anything else that we haven't talked about? I mean, the 3DS is so feature-packed. I'm trying to remember if there's anything we didn't talk about.
There's the Game Notes pad thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You could take
Alright,
notes.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
that's
that.
that is that. So, last question I want to ask everybody before we go to our make our way out of this podcast is that what would you guys say would be if you were to pitch the 3DS to someone? Like, why should you look into buying a 3DS? What would you say would be like how you would explain it to them? Like, what's your pitch?
My pitch for the 3DS is that it can play the entire DS library and the entire 3DS library. What more can you ask for?
That's it? Nice and simple?
Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything
That's
else.
pretty good. I was gonna say that's way more concise than mine. I was gonna say there's a lot of different catalogs of, big game library from both new and old, and you can personalize it to your liking and express yourself through the system. And
See, I convinced Al.
and Al said Jack convinced me. But yeah, I would say the massive library of games, both new and old, the personalization features, it is one of the easiest systems to hack and mod and just do whatever you want with it. This really is the system. I know that they tried to pitch the Wii U as the system for you, but I think that the 3DS system is the system for you. The 3DS U.
I would pull out a gun and threaten their life.
Oh my god! Is that really how you're doing this?
That's my pitch.
With violence?
Buy it,
Buy it.
or else. Blam.
Blam, suck on that.
Yeah, blam suck on that.
When's the Lexine's Quest 3DS port?
No.
No.
That's so much work. No.
I'm gonna find a way to run Lexine's Quest on my hacked 3DS.
I mean, you probably could.
Good.
Wait until there's a version that's actually playable, though.
Yeah. Wait until I finish the game and then I can put it on my 3DS and then I can. If I manage to do it, I will post the results.
Fuck it.
Screw
Go for it.
Right.
Can I get up and get Tillamook now?
You can go ahead and get Tillamook now.
Yes.
We got our usual every podcast episode social media plug. We've got a Twitch. If you are live, you are with us live. You are seeing this right now. You are on Twitch. Congratulations. If not, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this elsewhere, just know twitch.tv/GamingStooges. That is where we are, of course. We've got a YouTube. We export all of our streams from Twitch over to that. That's including these. We've got a Discord. You can join it for free. Probably foolish of us, but I mean it's mostly been fine, except for that time when we had Ichigo Bradley. That was cool. But
that was a time.
Remember the time?
Hey, Peter.
But yeah, you've got that. You have our Patreon, patreon.com/GamingStooges. We are doing some really cool stuff on Patreon right now. We recently did an interview with Mr. Cohen, who developed Lexine's Quest, a certain generic RPG. If you want to hear the scoop on his process with making that game, head on over to patreon.com/GamingStooges, subscribe to the Gold Stooge tier, and you can get that content plus a backlog of all the other cool exclusive content we have. We have polls on that Patreon. We, as of the making of this podcast, currently had one going on to decide what our next topic is going to be for the next podcast after this one. So
We have two going on.
there's another. Yeah, what's the other poll again? I forget.
It's for my next game.
Yep.
They're deciding between Chance of Sonar or Frog Gun. So there's that.
And you don't have to be subscribed at the Gold Stooge tier to vote in the polls. You can just be a Silver Stooge tier. That's $3 a month. That gets you access to all those polls so you can help decide the content that we do in the future. And then, of course, at the Gold Stooge tier, we've got Pixel Vixen, who's been supporting us nonstop, around the clock. Got to give that shout out. Thank you, everybody who's been pitching in, of course. And Twitch.
Is he gonna even mention the stuff we just recorded for September?
We do have something coming out for September.
Tickle their buttholes, please.
If you like tabletop games, we already did a campaign, a couple campaigns in the past, but we've got another one coming. So, if you're interested in that, we are going back to that for future Patreon exclusive episodes for a little bit. Probably won't be too many episodes, but it'll be really fun. I think that I would suggest people try out the Gold Stooge tier and check out all that cool stuff. Back to the Twitch, I do want to ask, what are you guys currently doing? Because we are always doing something interesting.
I don't know, because people have to tell me what they're doing.
Landon's currently on standby. He's waiting to get poll results. Jack, what are you doing?
Right now, I'm between major games right now. I just finished Uncharted 4 last week. Didn't stream anything last night, but tomorrow night, if you tune in, I will be playing The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which will most likely be a one-off, from what I understand, because it's not a very long game.
I have been streaming Lexine's Quest, so that's still going on. Having a fun time with it. Landon's been pitching in to keep the game fixed up and playable enough for me to keep going with it. I've been doing it once a week for the past couple weeks, but I'll probably go back to a 2-a-week schedule in order to finish that up soon. Not sure what I'm going to be doing next after that. Landon, did you want?
I've been eating French vanilla Tillamook.
Nice.
On Twitch.
Nice.
I just stream it 24/7. I just grab a carton and just eat.
Forget Let's Play Breakfast. It's time for Let's Eat Tillamook.
That's what we're doing, baby. Fucking get your Tillamook at all places where Tillamook is sold.
Yeah. And then before we go, I just wanted to ask Landon, we've been streaming for about 2 hours. Do we have enough time to do a quick wrap up, or would you like to just have a sign out?
Fuck it, let's do it.
All right.
Let's go long, baby.
Let's go long.
We didn't do one last week.
That's true.
And we got
Let's catch up.
we got words to say, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, let's go ahead and catch up. Jack, it's been like a month
got
since
word?
we last did a checkup.
We got words to say. Let's see. I haven't had a ton going on for the most part. I will say, in the last month, I did plow through the last 2/3 of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I just got really into it one weekend, and I'm just like, fuck. I'm remembering how good this game is and why it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Is that the
And
first non-stream game you've beaten all year?
I think so.
All right, there you go.
So there you
I
go.
say it.
And it's a game I've played before, so every time we do one of these wrap-ups, I feel like Landon just likes to bully me for how few video games I play.
You do other things. It's fine.
I do other things. I wish I had more time, you know?
I wish you had more
But-
time, too. Stop streaming. There you go. I found you 6 hours a night. Or a week.
But I like streaming.
All right, keep streaming.
But no, this is one of my favorite games of all time for a reason, and I enjoyed every minute of it when I played the remake. So, fuck yeah to that. Let's see. In terms of stuff I've done over the last month, let's see, early August, play during a Landon or Cloud stream. The thing is, all of Landon's streams are on Saturday afternoons, and that's why I stopped tuning in for those, because Saturday afternoons are too busy at work for me to join. And unfortunately not optimal for gaming. But, and during Cloud's most recent streams, I've been trying to pay attention to Lexine's Quest. Keyword is trying.
We like to do the voices.
And just look at my phone.
Wow.
We like to do the voices. I said, listen, Landon, that's not a dig against Lexine's Quest. That is a dig against my own ADHD.
I was say we've had moments, not just in Lexine's Quest, but plenty of times where like Jack's like dozing off and like I would snap my fingers, but I don't actually know how to snap my fingers. I'd be like, hey, come on.
I'm a tired boy, and I have ADHD. Cut me some slack. Let's see. Early this month, I saw Blink 182 in Indy. And that was fun. I went by myself because I bought a ticket kind of late and was like, oh, they still have some like solid seats for face value price.
What is that
Fuck it,
poster
I'll see it
behind
again.
you?
Oh, they can't see it
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to see it on the stream. It's fucking, I moved it because I'll get to that in a second, actually. On Sunday, me and Bethany went to go see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Nice.
It was her first time seeing them, and it was my fifth. And we're going to see them again in Chicago on Sunday. So that poster is sitting there because I got a poster at the show we went to on Sunday, and I hung it up in the living room, but I needed to take one of the ones in the living room down. That is the Anamanaguchi poster from when they played the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
From the game. It's Ramona Flowers. Do you want me to...
I could vaguely recognize that does make sense. It does have that look to it. Okay. That's pretty cool. I like that. Nice. Anything else to add?
That's pretty much it. August has been kind of like a work all the time and just do shit in my free time. Nothing too crazy has been going on lately, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, Bethany and I went to Kings Island early this month. If you don't know what Kings Island is, it's an amusement park in Mason, Ohio. And it was fun. We were there the whole day, and we rode pretty much every ride we wanted to, and we had a good time. So that's pretty much everything I've been up to over the last month.
We have Katie here joining us live a little late in the podcast. Hopefully you tune in to the after upload because we had a lot of cool things to say about the 3DS. But I think for me, I didn't really have too much new stuff going on. Alice and I are saving up because we want to move, try to get like a nicer apartment, hopefully. So we've been working on that. I believe in comparison to the last time we did a catch-up, I was in the middle of, but hadn't finished Final Fantasy VI. It was my first time playing through it. I did beat it, and I have to say, wow. That's
Right.
probably become one of my new favorite games of all time. Like, that game is crazy good. Like, I don't know how high up it is. I gotta, like, go back to my list and evaluate. I played through the Pixel remaster, so I didn't get, like, the bonus content from the GBA version. But honestly, I didn't really need it. Like, there was a lot to do in that game. And it's really, really good. So, I'm happy with my experience. It lived up to a lot of the hype that it's had. And I also played through Super Mario RPG. So Jack was not the only person playing through a Mario RPG game, role-playing game. I played through Super Mario RPG as opposed to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, but like Final Fantasy VI, it was my first time playing through any version of Super Mario RPG before. Never played it before. I think it was pretty good. I had a pretty fun time with it. I didn't quite like it as much as some of the other games I've been playing recently, like Final Fantasy 5 and 6 specifically. Like, those ones are way up there for me. But I will say I do get why people probably liked it back in the day, because I know a lot of people hyped up Super Mario RPG, and like I can see it. Like, I can see why people enjoyed it. It's a really easy to get into RPG like most Mario RPGs are. It's got a fun story. The characters are fun to interact with. The gameplay is simple enough to pick up, but it's deep enough to have a good time with. And yeah, I would say it's a pretty good game overall. So I played the Switch version for that, the Switch remake that they did. So I also have content I can go back to. I think that's really it. Really hasn't been anything a whole lot new with me, to be honest.
So I beat Sandland, and I finished my Triple Perfect Plus run of Runner 2. Let's see. I got back to more of the Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, and I'm in the finale. I'm like working on the end of that, so I'm hoping to get through that here soon. And then I've been playing the demo for the new Famicom Detective Club game. I'm really looking forward to when that comes out. That you can play all the way through Chapter 3, so you can play the prologue, Chapter 1, 2, and 3 for free, and then that'll transfer over to the full game,
Nice.
which is cool. They did it episodically.
I haven't.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I haven't played these games myself, but I was watching Allison actually played through the first game herself because she has both of the first two, and she really liked the first game. She's in the middle of the second game, so she's going to be getting the third game. Although she's going to be putting that off because there's another game that she's more excited for that's coming out like the same week. So, but she's gonna get to MEO when she has a chance as well because she's pretty hyped out.
What else is coming out this week?
The Switch release of this game from an anime/mobile game series called Uma Musume, which is like Horse Girls. There's like a game that's coming out for the Switch, and she's really excited for that. So she's putting that first, but she's gonna get to MEO after she gets time, presumably when she finishes the second Famicom Detective Club game. But she's become quite a fan of the Famicom Detective Club games now because of those releases. I'm surprised they did a new one, but hey, it's pretty cool.
I think you made that Horse Girl thing.
No,
up.
it's not. It's a real thing. I'm going.
It's made up.
All right, you know what? You keep going. I'm gonna post it in the spoilers.
Katie did mention we did have an indie partner direct.
We did.
I don't know if we're gonna do a full like breakdown episode on that, because I don't know. But what I can say is since 7 a.m. Pacific time yesterday, I have nonstop been nutting in my pants. That's for fucking sure. I am so blessed hype for The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky the First. Jack doesn't even believe it. And anime is only real if you don't believe it.
And I don't believe it.
So believe it.
I should.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah. Are you hyped for that Trails in the Sky remake, Landon?
Did you not just hear that I've been nonstop nutting in my pants?
Yeah.
Those were the words that literally came out of my mouth. I am nonstop nutting for that game.
He was busy finding a picture of the horse girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even care about that shit. We've moved on past that. We've transcended reality and into
Legend of Heroes Trails
God's
in the Sky.
realm.
God's realm, you mean?
I was gonna say,
realm?
are you ready for fully 3D remade Olivier? It's a crazy.
I mean,
Oh,
he's been in games that have 3D,
But-
so
yeah.
You're gonna have
But Trails in the Sky, Olivier, where
do
he is his most unhinged.
you want like a little spoiler? He dons that same outfit in Cold Steel 3, actually.
Yeah, but I'm talking mostly like attitude.
Oh, well, I mean,
And-
he's unhinged all the time.
Okay.
So
Well, thank God.
that doesn't change with his character. He is pretty unhinged, even in the most serious of biznips. So yeah, that is literally the only thing I cared about from that. So that is why we're not going to do a full episode unless Cloud wants to. That's up to him. Anyway, something that we did we went to Mount Rainier, and I loved that trip. We saw a bear. It did not eat us, although I wanted to tell my mother that most of me came back and make her think that some of me left with the bear. She would not have liked that. But we went on a couple different hikes there. We did about, I think, 5 miles of hiking over the course of the day and a half we were able to be at Mount Rainier. It was real cool.
Nice.
Yeah, love that place. That was actually it had been almost 20 years to the day since the last time I had been up to Mount Rainier. Because I have my little stamp book. It was August of 2004 was the last time I had been up there. And so, it just 20 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So that's all I've got. Fucking upgrade to the fucking gold tier. Watch the Delta Green. Last things last.
Yeah.
Get ready. It's coming down hard, baby. Cloud, roll the outro.
What are your thoughts?
Me roll the outro. Sure, roll the outro. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye! Thank you for listening to the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. If you enjoyed us, consider subscribing to our podcast RSS feed, or follow us on youtube.com/GamingStooges and twitch.tv/GamingStooges for more gaming content. If you'd like to chat with us, join our Discord. The link can be found in the episode description. We also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your continued support means a lot to us. Not already one? Please take a look at what we have to offer anyone who becomes a patron at patreon.com/GamingStooges. See you next time!